Hi everybody, welcome back to a new video. Hope you're all well. Today I'm at Tollered exploring the old NAS factories or the old NAS cotton mills. This place dates back all the way back to 1833. So we're walking through almost 200 years of history right now. And I really choose a very nice day for this. It's about minus 17 degrees Celsius right now, and it's clear skies. It's so beautiful. So hopefully we get a really nice day here today. Well, that didn't go as planned, did it? I actually got kicked out from the area. Some guy came up to me right after I was recording the intro, asking me what I was doing. And I told him, I'm just taking some photographs and I'm recording a video. And he told me, I can't do that here. Hello, you can't do that here. You can't do commercial work here. And I was like, I'm not doing commercial work. I'm just doing it for myself and for my YouTube. It doesn't matter, you can't do that here. So instead of fighting, I am now in the middle of nowhere out on... I would presume this is a gravel road when it's not snowy outside. And I'm looking for some minimalistic photographs instead. I think I found a few already. Anyways, it is a shame that I couldn't be there because I actually built this script based on... Well, it was a nice segment to the topic of this video, which is storytelling in photography. In photography, we often hear things like, story is king, you have to tell a story. Photos need a story. The word storytelling has been thrown around so much on the internet the last years that it has completely lost its meaning. It's become a buzzword. But what does actually storytelling in photography mean? If I show you a beautiful picture of a mountain at sunset, where is the story? Is the story in the rock? Is it in the clouds? Or are we just confusing story with aesthetics? I've been thinking about this quite a lot lately, and I've realized that storytelling in photography isn't always a linear narrative. It's not always a movie with a beginning, middle, and an end. I believe that storytelling is actually a collaboration. The photographer starts a sentence, and it's up to the viewer to finish it. Here's the problem with the idea of storytelling in our world. When we think of a story, we usually think about cinema or literature. A movie has 2 hours to make you care about a character, and a book has 300 pages to explain a plot. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Photographers don't have that luxury. We have one frame. So the idea of storytelling in photography isn't really about a narrative arc. It's physically impossible to show a whole timeline in a still image. Instead, I think storytelling in photography is about suggestion. It's about giving the viewer just enough visual information to make them wonder what happened the moment before the shutter clicked and what happened the moment after. But the way we plant those suggestions changes completely depending on what we're shooting. Of course, there's the classic definition, the documentary approach. If you're a street photographer, the story is often an event happening in front of you. Imagine you capture a photo of a child crying on the pavement. To the side of the child, there is a small shoe laying in the gutter. Your brain instantly connects the dots. The kid lost the shoe. The kid is sad. That is a linear story, cause and effect. This applies to political photography too, but often the story there isn't about action, it's about contrast. Think about a photo of a homeless person sleeping on a cardboard box, directly beneath a pristine luxury fashion advertisement. The story there isn't that there is a man sleeping. The story is about the tension between two subjects. It's a story about inequality, about society, about the gap between haves and have-nots. The photographer is asking you to look at that gap. But street photography doesn't always have to be that heavy or political. Sometimes the story isn't about a specific event or social statement. Sometimes the story is about the complexity of the frame. I have a book by Alex Webb, The Suffering of Light. To me, the story in many of these photos isn't about a clear event. It's about the layering. It's about how it captures multiple subjects at once and build almost a visual roadmap for your eyes. The story is the chaos itself and how the photographer organized it. If you don't have that photo book, The Suffering of Light, I highly recommend you to get it. It's such an amazing piece of art. Anyways, the sun is setting really fast right now, so I'm gonna head home. New day, new possibilities, and we have this weird light today. I don't know what to make of it, but it's kind of glowing, but it's misty, foggy at the same time. It's really weird. Anyways, for a landscape photographer, it's not that easy. It's much harder to tell a story in the traditional sense. Usually a landscape photo provokes a feeling, calmness, awe, or the biting cold of a storm. To me, the story in landscape photography isn't always what's in the frame. It's about the photographer. It's about that fact that someone climbed that mountain. The story is about the 3 a.m. alarm clock. It's the hike into the deep valley in pitch darkness. It's the frostbite on your fingers or the sweat on your back just to witness that one specific moment of light. When you look at a still, silent image of a mountain, for me, the story is the human effort required to freeze that moment in time. And honestly, 90% of that story is waiting. Street photography is about reacting fast. Landscape photography is about slowing down until you match the pace of the earth. Sometimes you hike for hours, you set up and the light never comes. You go home with nothing. So when you do get the shot, when a cloud breaks for just 30 seconds, that photo isn't just a pretty picture, it's a trophy. It's proof that you outlasted the elements. That is a story of persistence. And then we have people. In Portraiture, the story is usually a question. If I take a photo of someone smiling, that's nice. But if I take a photo of someone crying or looking deeply concerned or even broken, you immediately ask, what happened to them? The story is the mystery. And I think about this with wedding photography as well. The wedding itself is a story. It's a life commitment. But sometimes just documenting the perfect day isn't enough. There is a famous quote that goes, "The cat sat on the mat is not the story. The cat sat on the dog's mat is a story." Stories happen when things deviate from the script. If I capture the couple kissing on the altar, that's a document. But if you capture the flower girl sitting on a chair sleeping in the middle of a dance floor where everyone is dancing, or the moment when the tough guy father of the bride wipes a tear when he thinks that nobody is looking, that is the story. It's about capturing the moment you expected one thing, but something else happened. And this brings me to my own work. When I look at my own images, specifically for my project Mellanrummet, I realize that my approach to story is very different from the street photographer or the landscape photographer. I'm not usually looking for action, I'm looking for traces. My work often revolves around farm life and the rural landscape. But the story isn't about the farmer plowing the field. The story I see is the tension between man-made and organic. It's about where technology meets the soil. I constantly look for that friction. How a sharp metal fence cuts through soft, chaotic grass. How a massive industrial machine sits silently in the middle of nature. To me, that is a story about coexistence. But here's the key thing. In this type of photography, one single image is usually not enough. If I show you one photo of a barn, it's just a barn. It's a nuance, it's a word. But if I show you the barn and I show you a tractor and then a muddy road leading away from it, suddenly those words form a sentence. The story emerges from the collection. It builds an atmosphere. It invites the viewer into that world and feel the silence or the isolation or the history of that place. So for me, storytelling isn't about capturing a decisive moment in a split second. It's about capturing a state of being, that has existed for years. So we've talked about all of these different definitions, the street photographer, the landscape struggle, the layers. But if I'm being completely honest with you, when I'm out there with my camera, I'm almost never thinking about the word storytelling. I don't stand in front of a field and think, what narrative am I constructing here? Usually, I see something that looks beautiful, or interesting, or weird, and I want to capture it. It's an instinct, not a calculation. And I think that's the main goal. It doesn't have to be that complicated. And this brings me to my final point. This whole video, this is just my way of seeing it. This is my take on storytelling. The beauty of photography is that the story isn't fixed. Once I take the photo and put it out to the world, the story doesn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to you. I might see calm in this image. You might see loneliness. I might just see a cool composition while you see a political statement. And we're both right. So don't let the pressure of telling a story stop you from shooting what you want. Shoot what you feel and let the viewer figure out the rest. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. When you're out shooting, is story something you actively think about? Or are you just reacting to light and compositions? Let me know down in the comments below. I always love to read your thoughts. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a like and consider subscribing. I appreciate it so much. But until next time, have a good day, evening, whenever you're watching this. Out!